What's going on, everybody? Team Rixie here. Ascalon, Mrs. Ascalon. We are back with another video. This time we're going to describe our experience with Halloween Horror Nights. And Mrs. Ascalon has the giggles for some reason, even though this is supposed to be a spooky and scary video.
It's so funny, I'm scared.
So, we're going to talk about in today's video what Halloween Horror Nights is, our personal experience with it. We had a fun time doing this. It was so awesome. And then we're going to rank the 10 haunted houses that you can go through. We're going to make sure that we do not spoil them for you, but we're going to provide a description and our personal rankings.
Yes.
So,
all that.
Since Mrs. Escalon's being silly, let's go ahead and dive into it. Let's go.
Okay, so if you do not know what Halloween Horror Nights is, it is the sort of fall Halloween festival at Universal Studios. And it is a separate, hard-ticketed event that you have to buy tickets for. So for us, we have the top tier of the annual passes. So we had one ticket per person included with our pass. So that was good. We saved some money. Hey, being financially responsible is a good thing. All right?
Yes, there you go. Words of wisdom.
Yes.
Good advice from Mrs. Ascalon.
Yes. So anyways, our thought was, well, if we don't go, it's down a toilet.
Yeah, we lose that ticket.
Hey, again, be financially responsible. So, it is this cool Halloween thing where basically on the Universal Studios side,
not Islands of Adventure,
right? They shut down the park early, and then you have all these haunted houses, scare zones, awesome food, and
shows.
A few rides are still open.
Yeah,
the ones that kind of go with the theming are still open, like the scary ones, like The Mummy, Men in Black.
Men in Black was open, yeah.
I think Gringotts was open.
Rip
Ride Rocket
open for some reason.
Look, Rip Ride Rocket. I know why it's open. A, because it has lights on it, so it looks cool at night.
Yeah.
But B, it is horrible. It hurts. It's scary as crap. I can see why it's open. Yeah. Anyways, so Halloween Horror Nights is an awesome thing, and we've never been to it. We never have.
We had the opportunity to go. So we went with my buddy Zach from CokerCulture.
Hey, Zach.
Hey, Zach. Zach recorded a video while we were there of our experience, so we'll drop a link to that video in the description below. But he put a thing out on Twitter looking for people to go, like his local Orlando friends, and I saw it, and I was like, Miss Ascalon, you want to go? And she was like, heck yeah. And so we told him.
I didn't think you would want to, so I didn't bring it up to you.
Because we weren't really planning on going. We were just going to let our ticket go to waste. And so when I saw that, I jumped on that opportunity. Yep. Zach was cool with us tagging along.
His wife didn't want to go, and his kids are a little too young for that.
Yeah.
So
I told him we could go, and we set it all up, and the rest was history. And we went and had an awesome time.
It was awesome.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about our experience. So we had early access and express passes, and we feel that's probably the best way to do it. There's also an RIP tour where you're guaranteed to see all the 10 houses and see
like VIP,
some shows.
Get it?
Yeah, but it's like kind of pricey, so if you're willing to pay that price, that'll probably be the ultimate experience, because I think they talk about behind the scenes with the different houses and give you extra information. But early access and express pass is definitely a good way to go if you want to save some money.
Okay, as far as early access goes, because we have annual passes,
we have the Premier Pass, right?
We have the Premier Pass, which is the top tier. So we had our free ticket. Anyway, that allowed us to enter the park early and stay. But if you're going to do that, you have to make sure you go into a holding area, or they're going to kick you out. Yeah,
they closed the park down at 5. So
but
you gotta
Horror Nights doesn't start till 6.
Yeah, so you have to be in a holding area by 4:45. It's basically one of the scare zones.
Yeah,
I think, which we'll talk about the scare zones a little bit more later.
So if you don't have an annual pass, you can buy early access. So That's what Zach did.
Yeah.
It's like $35.
Yeah, it's not too bad actually to get in early.
I mean, really, if you're getting in an hour early and you're getting to get at least 2 haunted houses in before the whole thing opens at 6, it's totally worth it.
Because they started opening the houses up like around 5:15, 5:30.
We got into the first one at 5:15.
Yeah. So again, early access is worth it because they don't open it until 6 for everybody else.
Here's the thing, people. If you want to get all 10 houses done before they close at 2 a.m., you need an express pass or an RIP tour. And if you have the express pass, possibly early entry.
Yeah.
If you don't have those, you're probably going to be staying there the whole time and or maybe not even finishing.
And they run it from 6 to 2 a.m., 6 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Huge lines.
Yeah, I think most of the houses had up to an hour wait. So, I mean, if there's 10 houses, I mean, if you're waiting about an hour...
I think the highest we saw was about 75 minutes.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if you're thinking about 10 houses, that's too many between 6 and 2. So, anyways, all that is to say, the early entry is definitely worth that extra $35. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're going with a bunch of, you have a big family, that can be pricey. It can. So, anyway...
And then our express passes that we got. So these are special express passes for Halloween Horror Nights.
Yes. It's not the express pass for the park if you go earlier in the day. It's a separate express pass for Halloween Horror Nights. We had to pay for it.
Yeah, because we get express passes after 4 p.m. usually, but not on a Halloween Horror Nights.
Because it's a hard ticketed event. But it's worth it.
Yeah, it really is.
It really, really is. If you want to do everything, you got to pay a little extra. Plus the fact that we went in September, so the crowds kind of probably weren't as big as if we had gone in October. Yeah, and
I wanted to, actually mention that. Go in September if you can. By the time you see this video, it's going to be towards the end of September, so you don't have a whole lot of time. But that may definitely be something you can consider for next year. I feel like September would be a lot better to go than in October as it gets closer to Halloween. So that also helped as well with our experience.
As well, too.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and talk about our food experience and the different food options that they have to offer before we talk about the scare zones and the haunted houses, because we're going to rank the haunted houses in just a moment. So we tried different booths that they had set up. They have special booths set up for Halloween Horror Nights, and they offer spooky foods. So they all have interesting names and stuff. Like there was a maggot-covered corn dog or whatever.
Ghoul juice,
which is this green beer. Ground Princess, yeah. So all kinds of stuff. So I have all of the food stuff that we had pulled up on my phone. So the first thing we tried was Twisted Tater, which is a fried spiraled ribbon of potato topped with seasonings. They had different varieties, but the one that we chose was the one where you can add seasonings to it.
Okay, we made a mistake.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was you can have garlic salt, and you can have seasoned salt, you can have ghost pepper salt, and you can have sour cream and chives. I assumed that sour cream and chives was actually sour cream and chives. No, it was sour cream and chives seasoning. So she put the garlic, the sour cream and chives, and the seasoned salt all on it. We did it without the ghost pepper seasoning. Bomb.
Yeah, I watched her when she pulled out the Twisted Tater, so it's this spiraled ribbon kind of on a stick. And she would hold it and sprinkle, turn, sprinkle, turn, sprinkle, turn.
I didn't know.
Next seasoning. And so, it was pretty salty. But, I mean, it was still pretty good.
I tried to brush some... It was really good. Next time, I will get one seasoning salt on it. But it was good. If you like fries and house-made chips... It was like that, but it was in between a fry and a chip.
Yeah,
it was
definitely.
It was delicious.
Yeah, it was really good.
Just don't get all the seasonings at one point at the same time.
All right. The second thing we had, we kind of ate it at the same time, was Haunted Horseshoe, which is an open-faced cheeseburger on Texas toast. And I think it had bacon on it and barbecue sauce as well.
And brisket.
Brisket, yeah. It had pulled pork. It was some pulled pork. Yeah,
it was barbecue, whatever.
Yeah, so it was a burger, and it had kind of a sweet taste to it. Yeah, nacho cheese sauce.
We think that the sweet taste came from the barbecue sauce. It was not my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
It wasn't my favorite, but it was good, and if you're a dude, you're going to like it.
Yeah,
so
Zach and I both enjoyed it. We thought it was pretty good. It was definitely very interesting having an open-faced burger.
It was very meaty.
Yeah.
Very meaty and potatoey and cheesy, and it had lots of
sauce.
Oh,
yeah, it had fries on there, too.
Did.
Fries they were on the burger. So, yeah, a bunch of different textures and flavors working together. So, pretty good.
So, it basically, like, if you like barbecue burger, nachos, and fries, it's all that together.
Yeah.
And so, it was good. I tried it. It was good. It's just not my jam, but it was good.
The next thing we had, this was more Mrs. Ascalon here, was the fried zombie brains.
Okay, can I say, the booth that was at was called like Meaty Meats.
Yeah,
or something like that.
Like a meat locker.
And it was like gross, y'all. Like it looked like,
but in a fun way,
like hearts beating. Like they had them like mechanized, and
it was set up like it was selling. They were selling packaged meat.
Yeah, there was like there was one treat that was called Ground Princess. And it looked like a ground beef package with ground beef in it. But it wasn't ground beef. It was like a raspberry Rice Krispie treat.
Yeah.
But it was called Ground Princess. So what I got from there was the deep fried zombie brains. And, okay, you know what it was? It was fried cauliflower with some sort of like gochujang sauce over the top of it. So it was a little Asian-y flavored. Mm-hmm. It was good.
It was good. Like
I couldn't eat the whole thing. I will say that.
It was a lot.
We were kind of walking and in a hurry.
And we were snacking. You know, that was our main purpose, was to try different small plates and.
Okay, I would totally. I'm not vegan or vegetarian. I eat meat.
Yeah.
But I was like, this sounds good.
Yeah, so that's a good option.
It's very good. It tasted kind of like on the inside. Of course, it was cauliflower, but. It wasn't just bland cauliflower. It was kind of like creamy. It almost tastes like there was some cheese on the inside. But, I would get it again. Look, Ascalon does not like anything that doesn't have meat in it. He does not do...
I do. That's a fib.
Okay.
It's not my first option.
You like grits, okay.
Yeah, well, it's not my first option.
Okay, he doesn't usually like vegetarian dishes. But he was like, dang, that's good. Yeah. So I recommend deep fried zombie brains.
The only thing is it had a little too much sauce on it.
It did.
Like it could have used a little less.
I almost wish if I get that again, I might say, hey, can you make it fresh for me and just put like half the sauce on it.
Yeah. But other than that, awesome.
Very good.
And then the last thing we had wasn't necessarily a scary meal, but it's like kind of a staple for Halloween Horror Nights. Yeah. So we had pizza fries. And so it was fries topped with, pizza toppings like cheese, marinara sauce, pepperoni, and sausage.
Yep.
So
like instead of crust, you have fries.
Yeah. And I thought it was pretty interesting. Again, a lot of flavors working together.
Kid friendly.
Yeah.
Kids would like it. We wanted to eat a couple other things. I really wanted to try the maggot covered hot dog or whatever it was. It was this corn dog with a Korean hot dog on the inside, and then it had like sesame seeds and stuff on the outside to look like bugs, and like a gochujang sauce. Y'all, that thing must have been good because they had a line a mile long.
And so since we had early access, we kind of started snacking a little bit earlier than most people. And so by the time we decided to grab the maggot covered hot dog, everybody else decided that they wanted to eat. Like, for the pizza fries, we had to wait a good while in order to get those. So, we missed out on a few other things.
Zach joked that they waited longer for the pizza fries than we did for any haunted house.
And it was a joke, but it was also true. Like, and we'll talk about the haunted house stuff in just a second.
Yeah, so if you're going to get food, try to do it early.
Yeah.
Or just know that you're going to have to wait a little bit. Mm-hmm. But the food is really good and creative. There were a few other things I would like to have tried, but... for another year.
Yeah, we're hoping to definitely start a tradition of going every year in September.
At the end of this night, that's what he said to me. He said, we're coming every year. It was
so much fun. So much fun.
Which leads us to...
Yes, let's get into the scare zones and the haunted houses. So there's 5 scare zones throughout the park. So these are basically areas that you walk through. They're themed. You have people walking around in costumes and they jump out and try to scare you. And so the first 3 we kind of went through when it was still light out. So they weren't as scary, but they were still fun. And then the last 2 we went through at night. So they were a lot creepier.
Yeah.
The first scare zone that you go through is called Horrors of Halloween, and it's set up right at the beginning of the park, right near the entrance.
Right by the Despicable Me Minions ride.
Yeah. And so the Pumpkin Lord is there, and so he pops out of this pumpkin, and he talks to you in this deep, scary voice.
I will no longer rest in the shadows. I have taken root and will now accept your praise.
He says, "You're all of my minions."
Yeah.
Right by the Minions ride.
There's a bunch of hordes of fiendish creatures that walk around in that scare zone. And I think that one is kind of a little more tame than the other 4 scare zones since it's at the beginning of the park.
It's very Halloween-y. Like, there's lots of pumpkins. There's a witch with candy, kind of like Hansel and Gretel. You know, it's very traditional Halloween.
And then the next, so we actually ended up seeing that one kind of towards the end because we were already in the park. So we saw that one in the dark.
Because we went to the Hellblock Horror House last, which was right by that.
I mean, we kind of saw it when we first walked in the daylight.
It didn't have the same effect.
Yeah, it didn't. Definitely.
And the Pumpkin Lord was not out yet.
So if you get there early, you may want to wait until it's dark to kind of walk back through some of them.
You know, when we first went through it, they weren't open yet.
Yeah.
It was like maybe what time was it? Maybe
it was 4 something.
3:45 or 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
So they weren't even. The park wasn't even closed yet before reopening, so there was nothing out there. So that's why we caught it at the end.
Yeah, before they close the park down for Halloween Horror Nights, they do a good job of concealing a lot of the stuff that you're going to see. Like, they cover up the entrance to the haunted houses and different things. I mean, you can kind of see the scare zones, but obviously there's no people walking around in costumes there. Anyways, the second scare zone that you come to is outside of the Mummy.
If you're going kind of clockwise around the
park, yeah, like we did. So the second scare zone is around the Mummy area, and it is called Sweet Revenge. And so the sweets from Major Sweets Candy Company have turned children into crazed killers. This Halloween's all trick, no treat, and total mayhem. That one was a really cool scare zone. We saw that one during the daylight, but a lot of costume people walking around, which were the kids that were turned into like ghouls and goblins.
It reminds me of an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer where everybody who rents costumes from this one place turns into whatever they dressed as. Mm-hmm. And so all the little kids dressed as like goblins and ghouls turn into like little demons. Yeah. And that's kind of what this was like.
So yeah, that was a really cool one. We didn't get to see that one at night, but I imagine it's just as fun as it is in the daylight. All right, the third scare zone is kind of near Fast and the Furious in that area going towards
between Fast and the Furious and Diagon Alley, yeah.
And that one's called Conjure the Dark. And so on the first All Hallows Eve, an evil sorceress called forth monstrosities from dark dominions. Now your blood will fuel them. And so that one was really cool. There was a lot of little demonic costume people walking around. There was a stage show kind of set up. Yeah, they did. They like orcs from Lord of the Rings. But there was a stage show set up with the sorceress, and we watched this one guy get pulled from the crowd by one of her minions, I guess, and they made him bow to her and stuff. So it was just fun walking through and seeing that. And then the last 2 scare zones we saw at night along with the Horrors of Halloween. And so the first one we came to was right outside of the Simpsons area, Krusty Land area.
Between the Simpsons and the children's area.
Yeah. And that one was called... Yeah, the children's area, Woody Woodpecker. That one was called Scarecrow Cursed Soil. That one was kind of creepy. It's at an abandoned farm. Scarecrows have risen from the crust of the earth to hunt you and seek revenge. They'll harvest your screams.
There were like straw monsters and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like they were a little on the creep side.
And that area was really dark.
Extremely dark. Like I almost wish it was a little lighter so I could have seen the monsters, but I don't know. Would that have ruined it? And
then the last scare zone was kind of on that strip near the Bourne show.
Right. That kind of...
that Hollywood area.
Yes.
And that one's called Graveyard Deadly Unrest. On All Hallows Eve, a dark storm descends upon a cemetery and awakens long dead spirits. No one living can escape them. That one was really cool.
Yeah,
that was
they
a cool
had
scare
some
zone.
monsters on stilts and stuff, and they were scary.
On platforms.
I
and
just remembered in the Scarecrow area they had those ones with the beaks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, no. I don't want a big old bird in my face. No. Anyway, but yeah, the graveyard was really creepy.
And there was lights there, though. Some, like, strobe lights and different things. So, or fog lights, I guess. Not strobe lights.
Yeah, it was very eerie.
So, before we rank the 10 houses, we have to say that with the early access and the express pass, we got through all 10 haunted houses in 5 hours.
Yep.
So we were done around 10 p.m.
Our first house, we started around 5:15. We ended around 10:25.
Yeah.
Ish.
A little bit after 10.
Yeah, it was, we made, as my grandparents would say, y'all made good time.
Yeah. And I think the longest we had to wait for a house was like 15 minutes, maybe 20 at most. But most of them we were in within 10 minutes.
Yep.
We didn't have to wait very long at all. And like I said, like we said earlier, some of the houses, the wait time for the normal queue got up to about an hour and 15 minutes. So, express, early access, do it.
I mean, if you can afford it, it's the way to go.
Now, we didn't do any of the shows, so I do want to talk about those briefly, give you a description of the shows in case you're interested. So the 2 shows that they have is Halloween Nightmare Fuel Wildfire, and that is in the back where that Fear Factor area used to be. The show that sparked the firestorm last year is ablaze with a new nightmare. The pyro and aerial performers are back to reignite your fears, and so I think that's a sequel to a show that they had the previous year. And then the second show is Ghoulish, a Halloween Tale. On a Halloween night, a ghost story becomes reality as you go beyond the grave in a spectacularly spooky show on Universal Studios Lagoon.
So it's over the water.
Yeah, so that one's over the water, and we kind of caught a glimpse
some,
of it.
Fireworks and stuff coming from it,
Yeah.
but we didn't partake.
So again,
That's okay.
2 shows that they offer, so check them out if you want to. Let us know in a comment below what you thought about the show since we didn't get to partake.
We didn't want to take a break. We were going.
House,
Food.
House, food. All right, let's get into our rankings of the houses. We're going to also give you a description of the houses and kind of talk a little bit about our experiences inside of them without spoiling them for you.
Before we start ranking, I just want to say that in no way was I disappointed with any one house.
No.
They were all wonderful.
They were all good.
I am a big old scaredy cat. Big old scaredy cat. So I'm not like one of these people who's like, oh, it was okay.
Yeah.
No, they all scared the crap
We're
out of
not
me.
haunted house snobs.
No. They were all wonderful. But some were done better than others.
Yes.
So when I start with number 10, please don't think that it's any reflection of the quality. They were all great. All right. My number 10 was the Blum House.
Oh, wow. I'm shocked by that one.
I thought you would be.
So
the Blum House was a combination of the movie Freaky and the movie The Black Phone, which are both very new. The reason that's ranks number 10 for me is, first of all, I've never seen either movie.
Yeah.
So
we plan on doing that.
yeah,
soon.
I feel like it would have resonated a little more with me if I had seen them. And secondly, because it was split into 2, it was just disjointed.
Yeah.
And I felt it was kind of jarring to go from one to the other. That said, they were both wonderful.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to say any of these were bad.
Yeah.
They were still scary as crap, and I screamed the whole way through it.
Yeah, and so you start off going through Freaky without giving too much away. And so you get to see...
And Freaky, if you don't know, it's a play on Freaky Friday, except... a girl and a serial killer swap bodies.
So it's got Vince Vaughn in it.
Yeah.
I heard it was a really good movie, so I can't wait to see it.
So we gotta see it.
Yeah, and Zach also mentioned to us that a lot of the movie, or most of the movie, was filmed in the Marietta, Dallas area of Georgia, which is near areas I grew up.
At a putt-putt,
One of the locations was a putt-putt golf.
miniature golf.
Yeah.
That's the word I was looking for.
And there were also other locations. I think
Yeah.
he said you can see the Marietta Square in the movie.
Yeah.
And so that'll be really cool to see that movie and
Yeah.
see all of those locations that I've been to as a kid. Well, I never been to the putt-putt place, but Anyway, so that's cool. And then there's a area between the houses. You kind of walk into the Black Phone then.
Yeah, you come out and you go back in. It's very clear that you're like outside again and you go into a different movie. So it was good. It was just not my favorite. But I still loved it.
Freaky to me was a little short. And the Black Phone was a good length. And I feel the Black Phone was a little scarier.
And it might have kind of ruined the end of the movie for us.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But that's okay.
All
we'll
right.
still enjoy the movie.
So what is your number 10?
So my number 10 is Descendants of Destruction. So Descendants of Destruction. So we forgot to mention this. So the Blum House was one of the IP houses. So there were several of those. So intellectual property. So they're based on something else like a movie or whatever. And then they have some of the haunted houses that were just created just for Halloween Horror Nights. They're not intellectual property. They're just cool, creative, houses.
No brand names or characters you would recognize, like a Michael Myers or anybody like that.
Yeah. So Descendants of Destruction takes place in the subway tunnels, and so the description says, "Careful not to leave any of your Scream Squad behind as you descend the subway tunnels of a deserted New York. Lurking in the dark are hungry mutants looking to feast on the last remnants of humanity." And so I just felt like that one, I was kind of excited for that one. The outside of it seemed like it was going to be really cool. Again, I enjoyed it. I was just a little disappointed.
The visuals were good. The set was good.
Yeah. I was disappointed with the scares, I guess.
Yeah.
There weren't a whole lot in there.
I think that I got more of the scares than the two of y'all in that one, which, that's whatever.
So whenever we went in a house, Zach would lead the way. Mrs. Ascalon was right behind him, and then I was in the back usually. And and you go into these houses in a line, so you got other parties in front of you, other parties behind you. You may get separated a little bit from time to time, but usually you can expect to have somebody in front of you or behind you.
And if I saw a scare happening right in front of me, usually I would run through the room so I wouldn't catch it because they have to kind of reset
and then leave
before they hit somebody again. Yeah, so there were a few times where I was just like.
So that one was, like I said, I thought it was going to be better than it was, but it was still a good house. All right, so that brings us to number 9.
My number 9 was Descendants of Destruction.
Okay.
We've already covered that. What's yours?
My number 9 is Universal Monsters Legends Collide. And so, obviously, based on the title, that house has Universal Monsters in it. So it's set up as a battle, and this is on the website, so it's not spoiling anything. It's set up as a battle between the Wolfman, the Mummy, and Dracula in this house. And so you kind of walk through, and I was a little underwhelmed with that one. Like, I had kind of high hopes for that one since it's Universal Monsters, and I love Universal Monsters. And, with them closing down, the restaurant and stuff, I was like, this house is going to be awesome probably. And it was still good, but it was kind of a letdown, mainly because one of the monsters in particular, and I don't want to give it away, you don't get a whole lot of that one.
I watched a video of an RIP tour where they talked about how this one in particular had a really complex backstory. So perhaps if we had done that, we might have appreciated it a little more.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah.
My 8th house is Spirits of the Coven.
Okay.
The Witch House.
Okay.
This one was like 1920s themed, like speakeasy, illegal gambling, illegal moonshine, manufacturing, stuff like that, which was cool.
Yeah.
And I liked it. It was cute, but to me, of all the ones we went through, this might have been the least scary.
Yeah, I would probably agree with Mrs. Ascalon there, but I ranked it higher because I like the whole 1920s vibe, especially when you're more kind of in the speakeasy part of it, which is the beginning of the house.
I think the idea was that they were drawing, especially men, into this lair in the speakeasy to, use their blood to conjure their potions and things like that.
And so the lair kind of looks like a house, like an old house type area. And so when it transitions there, that's when, I kind of started to lose a little interest there. But the beginning part of that was really cool. So, I really enjoyed the beginning part of it when it was more kind of in the speakeasy. You had, somebody playing piano and scaring you.
That was cool.
That was really cool.
The piano player was cool.
And just the whole setup there.
The roulette wheel. Yeah.
But then after they lured the people in, it kind of looked more like a house like an old haunted house. And that part of it, I started to lose interest a little bit. But
it
the
was
beginning
just
part was very fabulous
the
to me.
theming wasn't
As good as the speakeasy section. Yeah. So I do agree with Mrs. Ascalon, though. It wasn't as scary as a lot of the other ones.
So what's your number 8?
My number 8 is Hell Block Horror. And so this one was the last house that we did. It's a prison where they have these savage inmates that have been turned into monsters. And that one's, again, kind of like the Descendants of Destruction, was just a little underwhelming for me. Like, when I've been to haunted houses before, I think of prison type ones a lot that I've visited. And so I guess that kind of theming is kind of played out with me a little bit. And that's probably why I didn't like that one as much.
And this one was supposed to be like, okay, whatever it is that's keeping them in there, the machinery or the technology has gone down. So it's your job and the job of the guy who's in there to detonate the place.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of like all over the place, and I actually found this one really scary, so it's higher on my list.
She did. She got a lot of scares in there. I missed a lot of them because she got them.
This one part, this little man ran out at me, and I was just like, I almost just bolted.
That was a cool part. Like, you know, unlike most of the houses, you kind of just walk through and they pop up. Like, this one had a little hallway where, he kind of runs towards you. And of course, they don't touch you or anything, just like, you know, typical
but that
houses,
my brain and my body don't know that.
Yeah, so,
or I should say my brain knows that, but my body doesn't. My body's like, ah!
We're not going to tell you where that party is, but if you go through that house, it's coming. So,
all right, number 7 for me is the Fiesta de Chupacabra.
Okay.
Okay, so this one says it's a Latin village where the legend of the creature Chupacabra is celebrated with a colorful fiesta, and the streets are lined with the crimson blood of tourists like you and your amigos. This one was cool. It had some animatronics really cool in it, with the beast itself, and the theming was cool. It was very, you know, I don't want to say Day of the Dead. It wasn't, but it was very Latin, very fiesta-ish. But it wasn't, to me, the reason it's lower on my list is because it wasn't as scary as some of the other ones. Yeah. But it was still neat, and it was different.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
I really enjoyed the theming, and the story was pretty interesting. You know, trying to, like, every house we went through, I tried to figure out the story within it, and you go through some, you know, cool different scenes in that one that kind of helped me piece together what I think the story is. But I don't want to say the story because I don't want to spoil it for you. But that one's higher up on my list because I did enjoy the look of it and the theming and the story.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, number 7 for me was Spirits of the Coven. So we already covered that one. So let's move on to number 6.
6 for me is Hell Block Horror.
Okay.
I enjoyed that one. It scared me. And I liked the fact that it had tons of different types of monsters in it. It wasn't just the same type, you know. And that one little guy that ran out at me scared the crap out of me. All right, what's your...
All right, number 6 for me is the Halloween house. So that was one of the intellectual properties. The Halloween house was scary. You see Michael Myers a lot in that house. But I guess for me, I'm familiar with the Halloween story. I mean, I've seen pretty much all of the movies. I've seen Michael Myers a million times. So that one was very familiar to me. A lot of the scenes were from the first movie. And so that one was also the first house that we went through. So I didn't really like have my, you know,
your game face?
Yeah, there you go. On. And so I felt like I was kind of rushed in that one, and I didn't really get to take it in as well as I took in the other haunted houses. So that's another reason why I kind of ranked that one kind of in the middle for myself.
All right, number 5.
All right.
For me is Universal Legends Collide.
Okay.
So again, this is the Wolfman, the Mummy, the Dracula. I just like this one. I enjoy old movies. I always have my whole life. And it was very kind of throwback. And I don't know. I really liked it. That one it was kind of fast paced. You had tons of people jumping out at you in that one. Probably more than any other house, I would think. I mean, it was constant. And, so yeah, I liked it. The set was cool too. I mean, like, it had part with looked like a sphinx in it and some, like, archaeology.
Yeah, like the beginning was set definitely in Egypt.
Yeah. And, the story, I don't really care. Honestly, I like the old school.
It was like an Alien versus Predator type
vibe. Yeah, I just like an old school horror thing. So I enjoyed it.
One of the three turned out to be more of a hero, I guess.
Well,
in
one
the
of
story.
the three, you got the Mummy, the Wolfman, and Count Dracula. One of them wins in the end. It's very clear. And that's another thing that was fun. At the end, the one who won, we were all clapping, and he was like, yeah. So it was kind of cute.
That was cool. All right, what are we on? Number 5? Number 5 for me was the Chupacabra one, Fiesta de Chupacabra. So we already touched on that one. But like I said earlier, I really enjoyed the story and trying to figure that one out. And there was a lot of change of scenery in that one.
Yeah, there was.
So that was really cool. And the animatronic popping out at you in addition to people in costume popping out at you, that just added something a little extra for the scares for me.
Cool.
All right, number 4.
Number 4 for me is the Weeknd After Hours.
Okay.
All right, this is the one that's got the most buzz, y'all. The Weeknd.
Another intellectual property.
Yes, and I will say this one had the best music. Of course,
the music was really cool.
It was great.
The Weeknd has kind of got some songs that are kind of Michael Jackson vibe.
Got a little Thriller.
So I need to check out the Weeknd stuff. I've heard some stuff before, but going through the house made me want to listen to his stuff more.
Well, and after going through the house, I went and looked at some of his videos, and they're all kind of tied into this house. So if you are familiar with that, you're probably gonna like the house.
Yeah, the main song though is the After Hours music video.
Yeah,
which is what the house is named after. After Hours Nightmare.
It's got a lot of plastic surgery motif in it. It's this guy. He's been kidnapped. The
Weeknd has been kidnapped.
Yeah, they mutilate him and change him into something else, and it's creepy and gross. And if you don't like things like I don't like surgery and like a lot
Blood
of cutting and
guts.
things like that, I don't enjoy stuff like that. But if you find that gross, you're gonna find this house scary.
Yeah.
And it's also just kind of cool. You're supposed to be on like the Las Vegas Strip. It's like kind of like glam and flashy too.
Mm-hmm.
So
and he's performing, in different scenes throughout, and so that was really cool.
It was a very cool house, and I think most people really liked it.
And that was one of the ones that had the longest wait, but I think we waited the shortest amount of time, we got right into that house, like really quickly. Like we were actually shocked by the time we got to the entrance.
I wonder if people were going counterclockwise when they entered the park, because we went clockwise, so it was toward the end for us.
Yeah,
toward the weekend for us.
Yeah, because we went on Sunday night, so that actually works.
There you go.
All right, number 4 for me was the Blum House. So we already touched on that. Again, I like the Black Phone section a lot better than Freaky, although Freaky was still pretty good. Number 3,
Bugs Eaten Alive.
That is also my number 3. So we actually connected on one, which I was actually shocked that I ended up ranking this one as high.
This house was just fun. Okay, it was just fun.
It was a good time.
It was campy.
I agree.
It was set in like the 1950s, where you have this like technology fair going on, and they have this thing called
I forget what it's called, but it's like basically a bug zapper. It's like exterminator. Yeah.
It's kind of like a air conditioning unit, but it exterminates stuff. Yeah. Anyway, apparently it went wrong.
Yeah.
And they're all like, if you have a fear of holes
and bugs,
but especially holes and stuff, don't go in there, because that's kind of what they play on: fear of bugs and fear of holes.
Yeah.
But I loved it.
Yeah, Zach and I was dreading it because we're not fans of insects.
Lots of like air and stuff coming out at you to make you feel like there's bugs around you, and people coming out with like bee stings all over the faces, so it's all like, oh, yeah. It was
really cool.
Fun.
It had a variety of scares
and
too.
Giant bugs too.
Yeah. It had probably the most variety of different scares in it, and that's why I ended up actually enjoying it, even though it made my skin crawl, and my skin continued to crawl after we walked out of it. I'm glad we didn't do that house last, though, because I would have had trouble sleeping that night.
But this one was the one I was looking forward to the most, and it did not disappoint. It really didn't.
So that's cool. We both had that.
It's one that I wish I could have gone back there one more time.
Yeah,
so.
It was fun.
At one point, there was this thing. An insect arm stuck out of the wall and was like, and I think it got Ascalon in the side.
Yeah.
Even though they're not supposed to touch you.
Yeah, well, they found a creative way to be able to do so. Yeah. So that was cool. All right, number 2.
Number 2 for me was Halloween. Y'all, I'm sorry, but I've had nightmares about Michael Myers before. So going through that, especially it being our first house, it
that was the
scared
first house we started with.
ever-living crap out of me. Look, okay, I'm going to show y'all. Let's see if we can get it on camera. I don't know if you can really see it. Let's see. No, you can't really see it, but I have this huge bruise on my elbow. That's from me running away from Michael Myers in that house.
And crashing into the wall.
Crashing into the wall, yeah. I mean, he didn't hurt me. I hurt myself. But, yeah, Halloween, it was just scary to me.
There's a cool scene at the end, too, of the house.
Yeah, and we got lost at one point.
Oh, yeah. Funny story. Yeah, we got lost at one point, so we kind of went the wrong way. And one of the guys dressed as Michael Myers was like, yeah, you need to follow the exit signs.
Yeah, he was
you need
like,
to go
follow
that
the
way.
exit. He was really nice.
So we had to turn back, and then he popped out and scared us.
Yeah, we went around the corner. He popped out the other side and scared the crap out of us. And I was like, thanks, dude. Thanks.
So, yeah, I forgot to mention that earlier.
I really liked that. It was simple, yes. It was Halloween, yes. But Halloween scares me, and it scared the crap out of me. It scared the crap out of me. I mean, y'all, there's like a ton. I would say between 15 and 20 Michael Myerses in that house.
Yeah.
So
that's a lot.
Maybe even more than that. Maybe
more than that, yeah.
Good luck.
All right, number 2 for me was The Weeknd, After Hours Nightmare. Like, that one was visceral. I mean, it was really cool, like we mentioned earlier. And yeah, I mean, but that added to it. Like, that made it really cool. There was a lot of good scares in there. Cool vibe with the music and stuff. Like, that one all around was very well done. And Zach told us, most people tend to like the non-IP houses better. And I think that was kind of the case overall for us, but that one was just well done. That was really cool. So
it was if you like Michael Jackson Thriller, it was very in the vein of that, just a little more gory.
Yeah. All right, that brings us to number 1, which I think we locked up on this one as well. Our number 1 is Dead Man's Pier, Winter's Wake.
Okay, so here's the description. In a New England fishing village, undead fishermen emerge from the waves to seek their revenge. You and your scream squad may have escaped their hooks in the scare zone. Now they'll reel you in and drag you under.
That one was cool. Like, literally cool.
The set was beautiful.
Yes, it was.
If you're into cool imagery and just artistic, like, I mean, it puts you right there. You felt like you were there.
There was even a section in it where there was water in a boat, like, it was really cool. Very well done.
Kind of blue and dark throughout.
Very air conditioned, so to get out of the heat.
Winter,
it was really cool in there.
Lots of fog in that one. The bad guys had hooks.
Yeah, like the Hookman legend.
Davy Jones-ish, all slimy with like barnacles and stuff all over them.
Yeah. Got some Pirates of the Caribbean vibes from that, definitely.
It was, but look, y'all, the set was just there was so much wood, and you go into one part, there's just shipwrecked ship in the middle of the freaking room, y'all. Yeah. It was awesome. There were, like, we missed some stuff going through it, but there were, like, I think lighthouses and stuff, like it was beautiful. Beautiful.
There was supposed to be like a siren in there, Zach said, playing a violin, but they just had music during that one area, so.
I think we missed out on a couple things. Also, you remember when we went in and there was a bar there and nobody popped up? Mm-hmm. There was supposed to be somebody
really?
there.
So we were expecting that, yeah.
He didn't pop up, but it was supposed to be a ship's captain standing there kind of like cleaning the bar and like talking to you and stuff.
So yeah, I wonder why they didn't have that fully
I didn't
staffed,
see the violin person either, but I saw, like I said, I saw another video where, it's somebody actually standing there playing the violin. We didn't have that.
So if you experience the house and you don't get those things, then you can definitely probably find a video somewhere of somebody walking through it so you can get that experience.
It's super cool, just visually. That's what put it over the top for us.
Because that one, there wasn't a variety of scares in that one. You see the Hookman a lot.
Yeah.
But just the set was just really cool.
So
like
eerie.
Whoever made that house, they did a really good job with that one.
It was very artistically beautiful, I feel like.
All right, so that's the 10 houses in a nutshell. Again, we try not to spoil it, so we hope we didn't spoil some stuff for you in case you're planning on going soon to check out Halloween Horror Nights.
I recommend it.
Yes, it's
Look,
fun.
When we left, Ascalon was like, we're going again every year for this. I mean, we enjoyed ourselves so much, and if it's like this every year, then it's worth it.
Yeah. And, you know, we got to keep our premiere passes, too, so we don't have to buy a separate ticket. So it looks like we're going to be renewing that when it's time to renew it.
Hopefully they don't go the way of Disney and just jack the price sky high.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. I love you, Disney. I do.
So one thing before we close, I did hear that the new, you know, Halloween event that they have at SeaWorld is also really cool. I don't know what it's like, but I just heard some, you know, stuff about that one. So you may want to check that out. Of course, if you want something a little more tame, you know, Disney World has the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party that you can check
kids,
out. That's definitely for
wanting
kids.
Yeah.
We saw a few kids at Halloween Horror Nights, but a lot of them were
grown-ups.
teenagers and above. If there were any
Well, and
younger people
as
there.
well, it should be. I wouldn't just randomly take my kids to this if I were you.
There's some adult themed stuff, you know,
Yeah,
within
and
the
it's
houses
very
and in the
scary.
scare zones. And yeah, definitely, it could be definitely terrifying for small children. But fun if you're into scares and you're an adult. Really awesome. Anything else you want to add about Halloween Horror Nights before we wrap this
No,
up?
man, I want to go back. I do.
Too bad we won't be able to go back this season.
It was a heck of a lot of fun, and I recommend it.
Anyways, if you like this video, I hope this review helps you. If you're on the fence about going, hope this review helps you to make that decision. Anyways, hit that like button if you like this video. More videos from us coming really soon. Leave us a comment below. Let us know what you thought about Halloween Horror Nights if you've attended. Which house was your favorite? If you attended the shows, let us know what those are like. Leave us a comment below. Check out all of our content in addition to theme parky type videos. We also do taste test videos. So hit that subscribe button if you're liking the content. Our Instagram page is team_Rixie, where we post vacation pictures. We have some pictures that appeared in this video on our Instagram page. So check out that page if you're on Instagram. And we'll see you guys in another video. Y'all take care. Peace.